First up tonight in the news, yes, the re-education camps do apply to American citizens. I understand this is shocking, but as Paul Joseph Watson writes, the time for denial is over. Yesterday, of course, we covered the leaked U.S. Army document that outlines in more than 300 pages, I might add, the plan for re-education camps in America. I can't believe it either, but yes, they do use the word re-education, and they repeatedly refer to operations inside U.S. territory domestically with organizations like the Department of Homeland Security, ICE, the Immigration and Customs Group, and others that would only be operating on U.S. soil and not in the foreign countries where there are already camps ongoing. What we have here is the camps we've been sold under the guise of the war on terror now being legitimized for use with American citizens as they pass the National Defense Authorization Act, authorizing the indefinite detention of even American citizens without any due process. And so to fight the denial over this issue, and understandably, it's hard to grasp. You can't believe your government's doing this, but they are, and they're not your government. Paul Watson has highlighted all the quotes about how the psychological operations officers are going to be brainwashing people in the camps, separating out political activists, determining who may be malcontents or trained agitators, determining who needs to be indoctrinated through loudspeakers and propaganda films, and on, all part of this Department of Defense document for internment and resettlement specialists. And there's been other documents. We've covered them over the years. This is all a brewing storm. So it refers to in the document DCs, that's displaced citizens or civilian internees. It talks about things like implementing policies, quote, within U.S. territory as part of civilian support operations in the aftermath of man-made disorders, accidents, terrorist attacks, or incidents inside the U.S. territories. We know from past documents one of the scenarios they're training for is a total economic collapse, and you'll see that playing out in this document as well. And again, within the United States or U.S. territories during civilian support operations, during emergencies, controlling displaced citizens. Resettlement conducted as part of civil support operations will be conducted by lead agencies, including FEMA and Homeland Security. In another part of the document, it refers to listing prisoners' names along with their first, last name, as well as their social security number. Foreigners don't have social security numbers, only citizens of the United States. So it's clear at least part of this plan, while it does also apply overseas, is beginning to deal with how to treat Americans here at home, and we know the history as well. Paul Joseph Watson has outlined it in detail in his article from today, yesterday, as well as other articles. There was the ad in 2009 for the National Guard to recruit internment resettlement specialists, the exact language used in this document. In December of last year, only a few months ago, we got the documents where Halliburton's subsidiary, KBR, was subcontracting people to run the camps. Everything from sanitation to fencing to food and the rest of it. In 2006, there were all the newspaper articles, including the Houston Chronicle, pointing out how KBR had been contracted to build the camps. I believe the number was $386 million or more, or was it billion? I don't remember off the top of my head. And of course, we have the history over Rex 84, which ostensibly is a way to deal with the mass exodus of basically Mexican people crossing the border and others trying to cross the U.S. border. But in reality, hearings during the Iran-Contra scandal and more circa 1987 revealed that actually it was a secretive drill, quote, developed by the federal government to suspend the Constitution, declare martial law, assign military commanders to take over state and local governments, and detain large numbers of citizens deemed to be a national security threat. And again, we see the buildup over and over here. This is a slippery slide into tyranny, and these detainment camps are, of course, the end of the road for anything we can consider to be freedom. It's based on North Korean models, Soviet Gulag models, Nazi concentration camp models, and more. and they're really looking to bring it here. We've seen it time and again. They're really building up for something. They know the economy's collapsing, and here we have quotes from Bill Ayers from the Weather Underground documentary. In another Paul Joseph Watson article, Obama mentor wanted Americans put into re-education camps. Weather Underground terrorists plan to eliminate 25 million U.S. citizens in re-education camps. This is based on the testimony and the statements you could find in that documentary from former FBI agent Larry Grathwohl, who infiltrated the group and found that Ayers and his group were planning to re-educate Americans, and those who wouldn't be re-educated would basically be killed. They didn't really know how to run a country or what the economics would be based on. They just knew they wanted to take over with communism, socialism, infiltrate, split up legitimate groups, and really just break things down in America. In fact, they don't work for truly socialist communist ideologies. They really work for the elite. I think you see that if you look closely at what the Weather Underground stood for. But of course, Ayers has been repeatedly linked to Obama. He helped raise Obama, basically put him through school, was close friends with him. Obama was known to meet in his living room repeatedly, and they basically launched his political career there in the Chicago area. We have clips from that film, including some of the quotes from Bill Ayers. Let's go to those now.
I brought up the subject of what's going to happen after we take over the government. We become responsible then for administrating, 250 million people. The only thing that I could get was that they expected that the Cubans and the North Vietnamese and the Chinese and the Russians would all want to occupy different portions of the United States. They also believed that their immediate responsibility would be to protect against what they called the counter-revolution. And they felt that this counter-revolution could best be guarded against by creating and establishing re-education centers in the Southwest, where we would take all the people who needed to be re-educated into the new way of thinking and teach them how things were going to be. I ask, well, what is going to happen to those people that we can't re-educate, that are die-hard capitalists? And the reply was that they'd have to be eliminated. And when I pursued this further, they estimated that they would have to eliminate 25 million people in these re-education centers. And when I say eliminate, I mean kill.
And that's from the documentary No Place to Hide, a short clip from there. I've seen the other documentary, The Weather Underground, also interesting. I think from memory he was in it too. Anyway, we have some Bill Ayers quotes. Was he sorry for helping to bomb official federal government buildings? I don't regret setting bombs. I feel we didn't do enough, he says. He also said, everything was absolutely ideal on the day I bombed the Pentagon. I was on board with President-elect Obama, he surely later said. And you got to ask, how did they ever even get access to the Pentagon building, to the White House, to the State Department offices, and on and on? I really think that case stinks badly, but that's for another time.